Hey folks, welcome back for another walkthrough video for some more software from the fantastic Eduardo Tarilonte. Today we are covering a very different piece of software. This one is called II Vocal Codex. It came out after Aero 2, kind of as a supplement, and but we're going to do it today just as a standalone. So this is going to be a little bit different. Basically, what we've got here are just a couple of elements, and we're going to see what we can create with those. We've got female voices, male voices, and soundscapes. So no specific percussion, woodwinds, horns, any of that stuff. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here and just going to do something different. I'm going to limit it to just these sounds for now so we can focus and see what we can create. Normally I would be intermingling different libraries to create a full composition. So I was kind of back and forth as to how I wanted to do this, but I think the best thing to do would be to lay the bed first and then put some vocals over it. So let's start with the soundscapes. We'll pick a couple of different soundscapes and put it in there. Let's see, where are we? Vocal Codex, here we go. We'll start with soundscapes. So we've got a lot of different stuff, some that sound really nice, like adventuring and deep dream, and then some that sound maybe darker, like alone or cursed. So let's start with, I don't know, how about distant lands? That could be a lot of different things. The first thing that strikes me that I really love about this library, and I'd forgotten about this, is how visual the interface is. First of all, I always love these medallions. I always love that there's a little bit of light in there somewhere. I love that we have this very easy to read. But my favorite part about all of this is, and it kind of looks like a map, doesn't it? Like an old-fashioned map or something that's engraved. I mean, his GUIs are always just absolutely gorgeous. But what I love most about this one is how easily visible everything is. It's all nice and clear, large font lettering. I can see everything without having to strain my eyes. I know what bank I'm in. I'm in Soundscapes, and I know what my patch is. Down here it says Distant Lands. Now, because we're dealing with Soundscapes, and I'm guessing it's going to be the same on the voices, we don't have the descriptions because, again, these aren't specific instruments. So we wouldn't have a need for that necessarily. But what we do have is a very, very clear, immediate access to everything that we have available, and it's all just very brilliant. If I want attack, boom; sustain, boom; release, boom. Everything is just right there. So not going to really mess with those because for our purposes here, we're just going to deal with the stock sounds. But what we've done is we've picked Distant Lands. Let's give it a little whirl and see what it sounds like. Wow, that's really beautiful. And that's just one note. Did not hit any other keys, but I'm going to do this again. But what I want you to do is I want you to watch the middle of the medallion here, because you're going to see it be affected by the sound. So you also get a visual representation of what's happening. See how it pulses and fades with the volume swell. That's really cool. I like that. Not sure how much that helps us in the composition itself, but something very, very important. So again, what I always do is I have my sheet. We're going to have, let's see, it's Era 2 Vocals Codex. And then we were in Soundscapes. And the sound is Distant Lands. And that is our background. Now, as you guys have, if you've watched any of these other videos, you see how I do this. We're going to do everything simple. I'm just going to do it all in C major for now. No reason to get too crazy. Just keep it simple for the purposes of this video. Again, if I were actually writing this as a piece of music, and who knows, maybe I'll turn this into something later, I would be doing it in multiple keys most likely, although I do love writing in C. It's very simple. E flat is another one that I seem to really enjoy for some reason. G, obviously for rock and roll, very common. B is also another one that I really like working in for some reason. Just the flow of the keys is really nice to me. So let's start with Distant Lands. So we're going to go to our first track here. Again, I'm using Cakewalk by BandLab as my digital audio workstation, or DAW as some people know it. And well, my voice cracked there because other than one podcast, I don't think I've said anything all day. No, I don't think I have. So here we are. We're on track 1. This is where we're going to be because that is where our first soundscape is. And here is what we're going to do. We're going. We need to pick a tempo, don't we? 120. Let's do 110. The good thing about writing in MIDI is that you can always change tempo without too much difficulty. If you're doing audio, obviously that's going to cause you some pitch issues if you start changing the tempo. Also some duration issues, never a good thing. So let's give this a whirl and see what we got. Okay, so that's a start. That's a good song, and we got to put our patch in here. And I could easily just put, Soundscape 1 or S1 or whatever I wanted to do. But let's pick a second soundscape because we want to blend into something else. So that was over here on track 1. Again, we know that we've chosen a patch and we know which library it is based on this changing right here. So we go down to the next one. And we're going to go down to Vocal Codex and pick another soundscape. So we've done Distant Lands, and that is kind of, it's kind of dark, but not necessarily. So let's give Forgotten Magic a try. Let's see what that's all about. I don't think that's where we want to go with this, or at least that's not where I want to go at the moment. I might do something with that later, but not quite where I want to be. So let's see here. Invisible Dwellers. Let's see what that is. Oh yeah, I think this will work. So you can't see this, but I am updating the sheet with the second track. And again, if we're not sure what it was, we're in Soundscapes, and we have right here the name on the interface, Invisible Dwellers. And of course, we want to go ahead and label our track in the DAW. Boom. There it is. Now we go back up to the MIDI channel because that's where we're receiving data from the keyboard. We are on track 2, and we can see right here kind of where things trail off. But I want to go back just a little bit and kind of hear where we were. Totally making this up as I go. I have no game plan here whatsoever. So for soundscapes, I think that might be good, but let's do one more because I think we can layer something maybe over this last one. And let's see what we've got here. So we go back and we are now on number 3, Vocal Codex. And let's try one more soundscape. How about Mist Path? That's an interesting title. Let's see what that one sounds like here. Well, that could work well. Yeah, I think that'll work well. So we could do something with this over the top of the last one. So we're going to go ahead and do the name, Mist Path. I mean, obviously we're going to know that those are pads because they're not, definitely not voice names. Was it Mist or Misty Path? I think it was Mist Path. Mist Path, yeah. I mean, you don't have to be perfectly accurate on your sheets, but it does help if you're ever going to have to recreate this file for some reason. Just gives you the ability to, you know, not have to spend time digging around if you have all the paths and everything down already on your sheet. That's just the way I go. All right, nice and simple, right? So we've got, you know, a nice little bed here working. Let's go ahead and just do a quick save. And let's take a quick listen before we add voices. All right, that's a pretty smooth transition, I think. So there we are. So now we go back in. We're going to want to add some voices here and see what kind of trouble we can get into. So we'll go to Vocal Codex. We'll start with female voices. We have, well, I'm going to guess that's pronounced Celtia. I don't know. And Heroica. So, wow, we have breath, solo voice, female solo voice, tempo sync, legato, phrases, and let's see, we got phrases and vocal effects. Let's start with vocal effects. That sounds like it could be very interesting. So we've got quite a path here. This one's going to be a little bit more dramatic on the spreadsheet, that's for sure. So we go to, let's see, where's our last one right here? So we have female voices, Celtia. And then, oops, click in the right place, asking. And remember, it shows you this whole path to make things easier. Vocal effects and vocal effects, okay. Okay, so that's a pretty long path, but for here, we're just going to put female Voc FX, and we know what we're dealing with there. So let's see what we've got. Pretty ominous, yeah. So we got different sets based on these orange keys here. Okay, so the green are algorithms. And you'll notice that what it's doing is the green are controlling the, I guess those are orange. They're controlling the orange because they're setting the right set of sounds. Really interesting. But we're not going to use that. Okay, so it's major and minor keys. And let's see, I think this will go good in the second section. So we're going to start with that. And let's see here. I want that on whole notes. Oh, that'll work better. And then I think we want to do the same thing here with the male voices and kind of get like a chant thing going that might sound a little bit dark. Actually, I screwed up the spreadsheet. Hang on. So for this, I'm putting on my spreadsheet for what part it is, I'm putting female chant. I'm going to do the same thing here for the male chant in just a second. And I want to go down to Vocal Codex. I'm assuming there's one in the male voices. Bard. Oh, no, there isn't. Okay, so maybe breaths, male breaths. Let's try that. So we have male voices, Bard, male breaths. Okay, let's see what this yields us. Now we could also, by the way, and you can also tell that you're in different banks because we have different colored logos. So obviously these darker grayish ones are the soundscapes. Green are female voices. This is male voices. It's hard to tell. I'm going to say that's a little bit more brown. So that's interesting. Not only do you get the library it comes from, but you get what division within the library it comes from. So Bard and then breaths and then male breaths. Okay. Male breaths. Just making my sheet accurate here. Okay, because we definitely want to make sure that we're keeping up with that. It is such a pain in the ass to go back and do that after the fact. The nice thing is with these libraries is that if you did have to revert back to hunting down a path flow for one of your sounds, this walks you right through what you picked, which is absolutely great. Love that. So let's check out these male breaths and see what we're dealing with here. Male breaths, not breasts. That really sounded wrong. Oh, you know what? I never fixed, I didn't fix this since the last template I did. There we go. I think I have to fix the other one too, didn't I? Yep. Okay. I gotta remember to go fix that on the template. Okay, so yeah, very, very on par. Those are breaths. So that gives us kind of a little bit of an ominous chant. Let's see what else we have here that we can get in a little bit of trouble with. Let's go back to female voices because there's a lot to explore there. Go with Heroica. And let's do a voice. So this is 120 and 80. That might work because voices don't necessarily have to be on sync with the tempo. Sometimes they can be a little bit out of reach. Let's see how this works. Well, since we don't have a beat, I think this could still work. If we had a beat or a pulse, that would be different, but we don't until we have the chant. Might be a little too much for what I'm looking for here on this one, though. Let's see what else we have. So we have female voices, Heroica. We'll go to, let's try something female solo voice and see what we're working with here. Uh-oh. Okay, for some reason it went all wacky. I don't know why. Hey, hey, hey. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. So we're going to look at our path here and get that down real quick. Female voices, Heroica, female solo voice. And we'll add it here. And let me just double check that I've got everything right. I think I missed a thing on my spreadsheet. Heroica, female solo voice. Nope, that's right. Okay. Wow. All right, that was a mouthful. So let us go back. And we can see our key range here too. What keys are available to us. So from here to... Okay. Oh, wow, that's pretty powerful. Let's see. So you have to be really careful the way that you play vocal patches, and that's why I don't get into them a lot, is because to give a realistic performance, sometimes it's not all that easy to switch from one thing to another. That actually wasn't bad. Let's see here. It's kind of too much, isn't it? Light and happy while you're heading into the dark terrain, now do you? See what we can do with a male voice. We went into Bard already. Let's see what medieval tenor can do. Ooh, tempo sync. That's pretty good. Okay, so we've loaded our male voice in. We'll do here medieval tenor, and let's see what we're working with. Whoops.
Ch, 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 ch.
So if you leave a little gap and you let the sample start from the beginning, you get that CH sound.
Ch, ch, ch.
Let's see what happens if you play them without the breath.
Ch,
completely different. So the way that you perform these is going to make a big difference. So if you're trying to do this and write it in sheet music and then just put it in MIDI, I don't know how well that's going to work. Like these really need to be played, I think, to get the depth and exact precise feel that you want. Unless you want,
pa, 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 ch, pa.
You know, however it might come out if you're just like typing MIDI into the computer, like whether you're putting the note names or dragging and clicking notes on the staff and then running it through here. You'd have to play with that a little bit, but I think that for best results, you should probably play it on a keyboard. So let's see what we can do to match this with Our Lady here. Not sure I like that. That might work better. I see. Okay, so hold down that note, and that makes a smoother transition. Okay, let's do that. That's a nice vibrato in there, wasn't it? I like that. So let's see what we've got here. Always save, do quick saves. Very important. I've lost work way too many times not to know better. Not a bad start. I think over this chanting section, I would certainly put some percussion, you know, some kind of maybe like heavy percussion that sounds like it's in the distance, maybe like in the mountain or maybe closer. I'd probably add some reverb to these voices to maybe make them sound a little more haunting. Probably a delay or a ping pong delay that would make you feel like you're surrounded by them would be creepy and work really well with that background. So there's lots to play with here. I just really scratched the surface in this half hour just to, you know, kind of give you an idea of what's available. But there's tons of voices, tons of soundscapes. This is another fantastic library. It doesn't have all the other instruments. This is really, I mean, you could use it on its own, or you could use it in conjunction with other libraries that you might have. But I will say it definitely would work very well with just Era 2, or really any of Eduardo's libraries. Forest Kingdom, this would be a great, add-on for Forest Kingdom. But it works on its own depending on what you're going for. Even just the soundscapes alone, seriously, you guys, they're amazing and they're worth it. You hear the depth of them, the evolution of them, how well they blend in from one to another, how well they layer. And soundscapes don't always layer that well. And I might have just gotten lucky with the ones I picked, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're too specific and sounds don't work that well together, which may be what you're going for. It all depends on what type of thing that you're wanting to write or put in a position to write for, like a film or video game score, whatever it might be. These libraries are so versatile, guys. They can do all of that stuff. And I would say that this probably wouldn't be the first library I bought from Eduardo, unless really all you needed was vocals and soundscapes. But you get those with his other libraries, so I would probably personally recommend this one more as a supplemental library to one of his others, or multiples of his others, because there's some very unique things here, especially within the voicings. We really only scratched the surface here, like I said, in this half hour. But there's definitely something to work with here. I'm just kind of thinking ahead on the production side as far as like the reverbs and the ping pong delay and that sort of thing. But for the chanting stuff, I think that would really work. Lowering the volume, putting it more a little bit in the background, a little bit more reverb. In fact, you know what? Let's, while we're here, let's just play for a minute. Let's go back to those. Let's see, that is 4 and 5, I believe. So we're going to go to 4. We'll pull this one up. See, we're going to put in some more reverb. Maybe we'll take the volume down a little bit and pan the ladies to the left. And then we'll do that with the men to the right. We'll pan, oh, they're already panned all the way over to the right. We'll take out some of their volume, add a little bit more reverb. They're pretty heavy on the reverb already. Maybe take out some of the expression. Let's just see what we've got now that we've made some adjustments. Too much volume taken out here. I know these are really sensitive too. Of it, I would probably go even further and put a second reverb on this, on especially the female track, and really make it sound ethereal. And then with that ping pong delay, which is going to move it back and forth between the ears, maybe even a spherical delay or something that kind of goes around more and makes you feel like you're surrounded by this, haunted, creepy, chanty voice. I don't know. There's so much that you could do these days with different effects and mixing tricks and that sort of thing. But just, my whole point is, even just out of the gate, there's some really good stuff to work with here. Really, really like always the quality of Eduardo's libraries. You can hear that in all the reviews that I've done. I think I've got reviews in for all the libraries that I have. I'll go ahead and double check that. But I am going to do, when I have a little bit more time, I am going to do a full composition video. I think I'm going to go back to Nada, which was the first video I did. That was the project that Eduardo was working on, or just about to start working on, I think, when he and I met. And that was when I was a beta tester for. which was a lot of fun. Had like nothing to complain about except I think like the way one sound decayed. I was like, well, you might want to check that one. But other than that, like everything right out of the box, it was already perfect. Didn't really need me at all. But I did write a demo for him, which was great. I love doing that. But I think what I'll do in the next video, or maybe even over the course of a couple of videos, just depending on how long it takes, is actually writing a full song using Nada, like not one that I'm doing here, like, oh, let me just start a piece and maybe someday I'll finish it, but like actually write a full song. So keep your guys' eyes out for that. If you click subscribe and hit the notifications button, of course, then you'll get notified when new videos come out. I do all kinds of random videos, guys. I just recently did one on how to notice whether an email you got was a scam email or not. I've got some of my podcast interviews that go to YouTube. I can't really do the album reviews most of the time because of the copyright issues with YouTube. But the rest of the podcast hosts really don't care. And it really just benefits the artist anyway. I'm not making any money off of their work. I'm just helping spread the joy of their music. So I don't feel like I'm violating anything, but with the YouTube regulations, it's just going to get flagged and kicked off. So I don't really bother with those. But any of the interviews that I do where I don't play someone else's music, those go on to YouTube. So there's all kinds of stuff that comes out. I even did an Atari video on adventure, how to find the Easter egg dot, which was a lot of fun to do. So anyway, thanks guys for checking this out. Thank you, Eduardo, for another amazing library. This one's a little bit different, but definitely well worth the value that you put into it, guys. I'm telling you, there's just some great, beautiful sounds, even just the few that we played on here, and the versatility within those sounds, with the different sound sets within that sound patch, just so much to work with. So check it out, guys. Enjoy, and keep an eye out for that composing video, for my interviews, anything else I just randomly throw up on YouTube. I've got audio tips, I've got a whole tutorial on how I do my podcast, all kinds of stuff to enjoy. And if that's not enough for you, I've got some of my music, and I even have links to different people who have been on my show, links to their works in a playlist. So all kinds of fun stuff, guys. Check it out. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this. Go check out more of Eduardo's libraries. The links are in the show notes, in the YouTube notes, but bestservice.com, Eduardo Tarilonte, great stuff. You can Google him. He's all over the place, but he makes some just amazing libraries, and he's a hell of a guy, a very dear friend, and I'm very, very excited to share these libraries with you guys. So very basic stuff, but you know what? It leaves plenty of room for you guys to explore and do all kinds of things on your own without me ruining every sound. There's plenty of things to explore and be surprised by. So take care, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.